going on, everybody? This is Shamarcus, and this is Shamarcus Talks. And on today's video, we have a very special, amazing slash zen slash she done showed me a whole bunch of stuff slash she is the bomb.com with two dots. Man, I want everybody to help me welcome on the podcast today, Miss Cee Jones. What's going on, Miss C?
Hello, Shamarcus. Thank you for having me today.
Man, what the people don't know is one, we've already talked a couple minutes, but I was on her podcast and like she told me, showed me so much stuff that I was like, hey man, like you have to be on here. I talked to entrepreneurs and I know you're an entrepreneur and I know you're out here grinding, you're getting everything that's what's yours. But I think people would like to know how you got started, where you are, what are you doing, all of these stuff. Because again, I try to bring in people that are doing something outside the box, right? Regardless of whatever it is, entrepreneurship. Because everybody don't want to just work at a bank. Everybody don't want to drive trucks. Everybody don't want to make stuff, work in warehouses. They want to do other stuff. So my goal is to shed light on people that's doing something other than the normal stuff. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
So I can tell everybody about you, but I know you can tell everybody way better things about you than I can. So the first question I always ask is tell me a little bit more about yourself and how you got started where you are right now.
Okay, so I am Cee Jones. For my I also have a podcast, but for the sake of the podcast, you can call me the Aquarian Chancellor. So a little bit about me. I am the creator of the Career Strategies for Success Guidebook and the Career Strategies for the Infinite Dreamer. Together, they are the foundation of the Infinite Dreamers program. It is a career curriculum designed for youth ages 16 to 25 where I am teaching them everything workforce related. So we're talking about personal development, starting with the mindset first. So that's the personal development portion. We're talking about onboarding, resume writing, establishing a supporting network, all of those things that you need to be a successful professional. And so just a little bit of background of how I came up with that. When I first started my business, I was servicing women who looked just like me. And this was like right before COVID had kicked off. And I didn't have a business then. I was just doing resumes and stuff for women, again, who looked like me, who wanted to apply for jobs, get more money, like we always do. Everybody want more money. So from there, I knew that I wanted to start a business. I knew that I wanted to be of service. And so speaking with a business mentor of mine, which I always talk about her, one of my angels, she was like, well, go ahead and start that business. Like, what you waiting for? So I was like, okay, well, did that. You know what I mean? Took the steps to establish my businesses, which is InfiniteDirection. Did that. And so she worked with me to develop a plan. Well, things ain't really go as planned. COVID hit and it really changed the way everybody does business. We went from being in rooms where we were shaking hands to being online. So I didn't really know what am I going to do? I had a brand new business. Brand new business. And, how was I going to support, the things that I wanted to do online? Because that was like foreign to me anyway, because I was still an employee. So I just started posting stuff like inspirational messages to Instagram to kind of keep my business page active. It was just something that was just coming to me. And so I did that and it just started gradually growing from there. Meeting people has inspired me to do different things in my business as far as transitioning from just servicing women to actually creating a workbook designed for youth, to wanting to, to go into rooms and help people. Like a little bit about my background, I was a homeless youth, so I wanted to go back and serve and help people in that capacity. But again, COVID, doors was closed. So just naturally, like I said, meeting people, getting ideas, getting those people helping me out along the way, created the workbook. From there, created the program. And so that's what I'm doing right now, marketing my program, speaking with people like you on podcasts and pitch contests. I mean, you name it, I'm about to show up to talk about what it is that I got for the people that I wish to serve. So that's where I'm at today.
Oh man, that was a lot. Like, I know we
It's a
talked
long
last
story,
time, huh?
but I don't know how much time we got. I
We
said it's a
got
long
time.
story.
We got time. We have as much time as you need because like people really want to hear about this. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know about the homeless youth thing. I don't think
Mhm.
we discussed that part.
We did. No.
Yeah, wow. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
I typically only go for, like we already talked about, I typically only just go maybe 4 questions and that's gonna take it. But anything else you wanna just put out there? Because we got time. Trust me, we got time.
I mean, honestly, it's a part of my story, and I struggle. And this is one of the things as far as entrepreneurship, and you want to be relatable and you want to be authentic, and it's honestly it's a part of my story. I mean, like, how can I say I want to be a service to youth and people know, okay, well, she 40 plus, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm a mom, you know what I mean? But what is the connection to the youth that, you know what I mean? And people want to know, like, that's the story, you know what I mean? Like, that's my connection. I was there. I know what a career, what a job did for me. So, that's the answer to that.
Oh man. Wow. That it's funny because that segued to my next question. Like, what were some challenges that you faced with doing everything that you're doing? Because you're doing a lot of stuff that made you not want to throw in the towel. Because I know that what you just said, the entrepreneurship is not easy. It's a I ain't even gonna say it's a grind. It's more of a learning process. Because I tell everybody, whenever you become an entrepreneur, it's a lot of stuff you got to learn. A lot
About yourself.
uh,
Yeah.
about yourself, about
Mhm.
what type of characteristics you have, what kind of traits you have. All of these, like you're going, if you want to really learn about yourself, keep going in entrepreneurship. You're going to learn
Yeah.
so much. And for me, it was more of I'm glad I have the support that I have. I'm glad that I have all the things that I have. Also, I'm glad I have the spiritual connection I have because that took me way farther because it's been a lot of days. That's why I always ask the second question, like what was it? What was some challenges you had? Because like I said, everybody has challenges, especially when you become entrepreneurs, but what were some that stuck out to you and what made you not want to throw in the towel?
So yeah, part of it, like the way that my life has transitioned, you know what I mean? Since that time period of being a youth and just having a mindset of being optimistic. You know what I mean? Despite anything that I've been through in my life, through each of the stages, I'm a woman, first. And when I first started my podcast, I started talking about a lot of the things that I learned about womanhood, you know what I mean? But not to segue away from the business part, I learned a lot about myself. And as far as not wanting to give up, I always had a mindset of no matter what I was going through, like I never saw it as this is the end. I never saw it as that. And I don't know if that's just something that's just me and me personally. And I know it's not, let me rephrase that. I know it's not just me. What I mean to say is that that thing that you sit and you analyze how some people can, get past certain things, and then some people, like stuck. For instance, if you think about drug abuse and you start to dig into a lot of these people's story, there's something traumatic that happens. So what I mean to say is that I just never let things get me down, if that makes sense. I've always had a mindset of, okay, I'm gonna get through this. Like, I'm not gonna stop. Like, whatever it is, like you can laugh at me, you know what I mean? And so taking all of those things into business, I did make a lot of mistakes early on, and I you just gotta keep going. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're going to make mistakes. If anybody said that they stepped out on this entrepreneurship journey and they did everything perfect, they allowed. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Right. One of the, and I'll talk about some of them. One of the things is, as far as branding myself, you know, for me, I like to talk about myself. I like to talk about the things that, you know what I mean? But some of those things could be the very things that make people back away from you. You know what I mean? And so you're going to lose people who don't identify with your brand. And that's okay. That just means that what you have is just not for them. And so I always say that as far as my program and starting with the mindset first, that goes even with entrepreneurship, starting with the mindset first. If you can continue to market your products and your services, knowing that, okay, I'm not going to be able to reach everybody, and accept that and be okay with that, because sometimes people can be like, oh, throw in the towel just because they're not being received the way that they think that they should. You know what I mean? So just be authentic to yourself. You ain't got to share everything about your life just to create your community, but just focus on those things that you want to reach. Let me rephrase that. Focus on the things about yourself that'll help you reach the community that you're trying to reach. That's what I want. That's what I mean. So, I mean, just keep going. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about, you know what I mean? People's going to stretch you. You're going to stretch yourself. You know what I mean? Like I said, being in pop-ups and, you know what I mean, business events and, you know what I mean, just trying to network and finding coaches, finding the right coach. We talked about that on my podcast. Like you gotta really have a strong sense of discernment, and to be able to do that, you gotta know who you are and be comfortable with that and stand on that. So I always say, if you want to be successful in entrepreneurship, it would be helpful to seek out therapy as well. I know I did that early on, because I mean, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. You will question yourself on this journey, but overall, I would just say, just stay connected to you. Faith was another thing that I always talk about. Check out those early episodes. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it, because sometimes you're gonna be standing by yourself. I talked about doing a pitch contest. And that was actually my breakout moment to talk about my workbook. And I'm in the room, and granted, it wasn't you know what I mean? It wasn't 5,000 people in the room, but still, I was shaking like a leaf because I was so nervous. It's like with the microphone, but I was so nervous. I wasn't used to that. It brought me out of my comfort zone. So I learned about myself that I can do it, so, you know.
Wow. You said a whole bunch that was like gems and jewels, right? And it was like whoever it is, they need to rewind it and make sure they rewind back to the first sector what you were talking about so they can get to this one. Because like you said a whole bunch, from mentorship to learning yourself to all of these things that people are not talking about in the entrepreneur space. Like that's why I'm here, man, because people aren't talking about what you just said. They're not. And then
Mhm.
it's like it ain't till you actually get in here and then you figure that out. Like you gonna be standing by yourself for a while.
Yeah. It takes, according to a lot of the interviews that I've done, it takes anywhere between 3 to 5 years for an entrepreneur to start making money in their business. What are you going to do in those 3 to 5 years? How are you going to continue to progress and grow your products and services from something that maybe two people like to something 50 million people like? How are you going to do that? And I'm just, throwing some out there. It ain't even got to be that. And that's another thing. What are your personal goals for your business? Because it ain't got to be 50 million people. It can just be, and you happy with that. You know what I mean? So you got to dig into the self to understand that. Otherwise, you're gonna be chasing a white rabbit. You're gonna be chasing a vision of success that ain't yours.
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Say that one more time, because that was a bar. Like that was one of those like Oh dang, I need to hear that again. Like even me, say that again. Just say that again.
You're going to be chasing a vision of success that's not yours. Have a goal. What does success look like for you? Are you servicing 50 million people, or are you just servicing 50 and you're still reaching that version of success? You have to make those decisions along the way and not be disappointed and not feel like you know what I mean? That level of competition that rises up even within yourself. Like I got to, I got to do this last week. You know what I mean? My revenue goal was 10,000 and then next week I want to do. So what are you doing? You know what I mean? Meanwhile, your kids, you know what I mean? They missing out on time with you, I mean, you got to make some decisions. You're going to have to make some decisions. So, you really have to, go in with a strong mind of self, strong sense of self.
Wow. That just so happens to segue to the next question that I have. What a coincidence. So the next question I have is what's some advice that you give people that want to get started with doing what you're doing? Because again, I always tell people, listen to what people are saying because they're going to give you some pitfalls, they're going to give you this, but then they're going to give you some advice also of what they like. If I was you, I would do this, or if I was you, if I knew this, I'll do that. Like, what are some advice that you'll give to people?
Sure, child. You will know your business. And what I mean by that is have representation as far as making sure your paperwork is in order. One of the mistakes that I made early on is tax documents, making sure that all your tax stuff is up to date because you don't want to be putting all in this energy into your business and then you find out that you ain't you ain't paid something or property tax or something like that on your business, and then now you not in compliance, and so you your paperwork ain't right. You know what I mean? You're illegal. So I would say stay on top of that. Start off small and work your way up. You know what I mean? Networking is important. Establishing and supporting network of people who are going to support you, and it doesn't have to be money. People can support you in other ways. It does not have to be money. People can send business your way. People can market, and our best advocates are people who are word of mouth. You know what I mean? So make sure that with whatever you do it with love in your heart because people gonna talk about you. Good or bad, people gonna talk about you. Okay. So make sure what they saying, to the best of your ability. You can't make everybody happy. Just make sure that your experience, you leave them with a good experience of you. Um, of course, you know what I mean, stay here, always that self-evaluation and self-assessment is important. That you stay true to your faith. That's always important. Have some morals and some values about yourself. You know what I mean? It's some money, all money ain't good money. Learn when you gonna say no to some stuff. If it's going to overwork you, if it's going to take you away from what's really important, which is your family, if you have one, then some stuff you might have to turn down. If it's not on your calendar, it ain't happen. And one thing that I learned early on is just we would like to say that we don't judge books by their covers, but that's not true. So make sure when you show up and you look like somebody that people want to invest in.
All right. That was bars again. You're just giving like gems and nuggets and everything. Like that last one really got me. It was like show up like somebody you want them to invest in. Like
It's true.
just that alone. Like people don't even think about that.
I didn't,
Okay, I'm not
you
the
know what
only
I
I
mean?
don't feel bad no more. Cause that was
No, I mean, because you don't. it's 2024. You know what I mean? We don't judge people. You don't know people, but then you know what I mean. I said this. Because I record little stuff about, you know what I mean, my experiences and stuff. People are not going to invest in people they don't respect. So that means, look at Beyonce. I hate to bring up, you know, I always talk about her because she's a household name, but she has a level of exclusivity around who she is and her brand. You're not going to hear a whole lot of, you know what I mean? And when she shows up in the public, she shows up, you know, put together, and versus, you know, another artist, and you know what I mean, you know, pick one that got booty shorts and shaking on stage. So this is what I'm saying about showing up to the public. You know what I mean? Like, you want to show up, like, if you want to be successful, you want to show up like somebody people want to invest in, people that they have respect for.
Wow, that was great. Again, and I thought that we were hey, you are that's why you are who you are, because you just gave so much game, so much knowledge. Well, my last question is, how can people find you? And how can people find you?
So you can go to my website. That's everything. That's my hub, www.yourinfinitedirection.com. Over there, you will learn about my program. You can get access to it on the hosting site. You can get access to my podcast. My socials are on there on IG. If you're looking for the podcast, if you want to access the podcast, you can go on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcast. Did I say that already? Yes. Spotify, Apple Podcast, and iHeartRadio. And that they host my Girl Get Up Life and Times of the Infinite Dreamer. And that is a playoff of my program, because I myself am an infinite dreamer. You know, I'm not going to let anything that I've been through stop me from pursuing my infinite possibilities, is what I call it. So that's my community, the Infinite Dreamers community. You can go over to any of those platforms and subscribe. My IG for for the podcast is GGU_podcast. And for the career curriculum portion of my business is at Your Infinite Direction. Just go over to my website, www.yourinfinitedirection.com. Everything over there.
That is dope. That is dope. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But before we go, one, I'll put all the descriptions of the stuff that she just said, so you'll be able to reach out to her. Um, you did something for me that nobody did for me when I came on your
Okay.
podcast, and I told you I was gonna take it. I don't know if you
Okay.
remember. I told you I was going to take it, and I didn't. Out of all the podcasts I've done prior, I have yet to say it because I was like, I have to let her do it first because I did take it
Okay.
from her. But going forward, this is something that I will add: is give me some words of encouragement for whoever's watching this that you will want them, that you will want. Uh, dang, now I got to remember. Give me some words of encouragement that you will want to hear from yourself if you
Mhm.
were like 5 years younger and you was like, oh my God, this is not working out.
Keep going and love yourself along the way. It's going to be situations, intentional and unintentional, that is going to take from you. You know what I mean? Standing in a room and people are looking at your products and services, and oh, this talk costs too much. Oh, I don't like. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, still stand there with a smile on your face. Take that time to love on you. It's gonna be okay. That's it. Love on you. It's gonna be okay.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This has been another amazing episode. You've told me so much stuff. You gave me so much game. And also you just blessed me with the last thing you just said, because that was dope. Like, that really touched home with everything that I have going also. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um this won't be your first time. This is your first time. It will not be your last. I want you to come on more. Like, thank you so much.
It's the hardest thing to do because you know what I mean? Those experiences, it takes a piece of us little by little, and sometimes we don't realize it until you sitting on the floor in tears, like, oh my God, it's not working. What am I doing? You know what I mean? And you gotta love yourself through that anyway. You
Oh
know
my
what I
God.
mean?
Thank you, Miss C. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
thank you. Man, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.